now. Okay, you guys ready for the big reveal?
I guess so.
Hello, and welcome to Super Geeks.
Okay.
So we're doing a special show today. It's not special, really.
His finger looks like an poop at it. It does.
So Super Geeks normally has Batman around, but you know what? His Robin, he kind of flew away. You know, how birds, they kick their kids out of the nest and they go. Well, anyways, and today,
or eat them.
Yeah, I'm an older Robin. When Robin,
an older Robin.
An older.
So he's basically Nightwing, but he's got the same outfit.
If old folks rest home, and he said, "I remember the good old days when I was."
No, see, if you're going to do that, you need to get a Barnacle Boy.
Are you going to look
outfit.
this way for the entire
Barnacle
podcast?
Boy.
No, trust me, and everybody
so.
else knows this. And Carlos, you will be surprised.
I'd like to talk.
This.
Will I?
Through the show, I will not look like this.
Halfway. We have to put up with this for half the show.
I'm willing to reveal my secret identity. Ready? Anyways, it's me, George.
Oh,
so,
it's George!
Oh, wow!
I mean,
holy crap.
The Domino mask is kind of iconic. It can be for a lot of shows. Like, what's that show that was on?
No, if only those Pizza people wore them.
Oh, the Pizza Academy kids.
Yeah,
No. The Domino mask. Now, if only those pizza people wore them.
That's true.
Domino's Pizza.
I thought you were talking about Umbrella Academy because they.
I was at first, but she Donald Trump me. So
I want to just point out something that I think we really need to discuss right now. And that through George's big reveal, Sunsail made a fucking SpongeBob reference to Barnacle Boy, and I was so happy to hear.
I didn't catch that.
I did.
Yeah, I said if you're going to talk about being in an old folks' home, you need to be dressed as Barnacle Boy.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding.
When I was Robin. I got to get a Nightwing costume. Anyways, so
hey, you guys know about that last year when I took my my daughter to have breakfast with Tom Kenny, right?
Yeah.
And I learned how he does the laugh for SpongeBob. He goes, that's how he does it.
See, I have to review. You can't wear the gauntlets when you're using the computer because it's like,
because the blade catches
very intuitive.
Yes. You don't want to saw the desk in half while you're typing.
Well, they're not compatible. The technology is too advanced compared to like Windows. Weird. You got Windows back.
That's
what
the desk in half while you're typing.
And the R symbol, by the way, is like the comm badge in Star Trek.
Oh.
Anyways, welcome to Super Geeks.
The summer edition.
May 25th episode where we're talking about the headline will be the Picard trailer because that's the biggest thing we're going to talk about because you know what? It's going to be awesome. So with me today is myself, who we're not sure if I'm Robin or Batman or George or who I am. But other than myself,
it's usually the schizophrenia, though.
Usually it's the I don't have. Oh my God, he's always gonna pull that out. I don't know who you're talking about because it's not me. And we got Carlos here over on DJ Harumph. How are you, Carlos?
I'm ready for action.
You're in St. Louis, which is not like where you're usually at.
It's not where I'm usually at, but it's my last night here. Tomorrow I head home.
Like the weather?
You guys, it's been pretty miserable in the Midwest, has it not?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we've had tornadoes and thunderstorms and downpours.
That's exciting. We all like that.
No, not for everybody else got the tornadoes.
I have to point this out. The view from where Carlos is sitting, I expect about 100 clocks to go off on the back wall.
like in the opening scene of Back to the Future, right?
This is an all digital home. All I have to do is speak my commands. Watch.
Oh man.
Hey, Google, turn off dining room lights.
Yeah. Whoa. But you had a guy standing by. I saw him earlier in his camouflage.
They've gone to bed. Hey, Google.
Really? Do it again.
Sorry. Hey, Google, turn on dining room lights.
Fucking
voila. Look, no hands.
All right, I'm going to have to tell Batman.
Alexa.
Get up.
I'm terrified of giving Google that much power.
The Bat Gauntlets only have so much power built in.
I gave all that power to Amazon a long time ago. That's why I went right to I bowed to my Amazon overlords and I just submitted and I just let Alexa control my whole house now. So
all right. So we also have Joe. How are you doing, Joe, with your hair?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd like to give a shout out to my buddies Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles at the Sunnyvale Trailer Park.
Yeah!
Bubbles? I'm already in love with Bubbles.
Oh my gosh. Carlos, you've never watched Trailer Park Boys?
No.
You will never go back. You will start watching and you will
I know
never
you're a big
stop.
fan.
No,
I know
it's
you're a big
amazing.
fan.
Oh my God, it's so
I'm not saying I'm against watching it, but the reference went at least
to who? To you?
Trailer Park.
I know.
Who's Bubbles?
Look,
Bubbles.
No, wait. He's talking about Carlos. Are you not? That's what we're asking. Are you
I'm
talking
sorry.
about Carlos?
Who's Bubbles? Is it a guy or girl?
guy.
He's a guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's a guy.
Okay.
He has bubble machines in his shed.
Well, how was I supposed
Surprised you don't know he's a YouTuber. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
I don't watch YouTube except for the ones I watch.
7.9. Thanks for asking.
Okay. We also have Sean, who is not wearing his new Captain Pike uniform because it's not ready yet. What do you think, Sean?
About what?
Captain Pike. Uniform that you just posted on.
Awesome. Dude, it's
Oh,
amazing.
Are you talking about the gold uniform?
Except for if you notice, he hid the comm badge with his phone because he said it's not ready because it sucks and he's waiting for the real one.
Yeah, the deal is when you buy it, they send you it's like a bonus. They include the badge, but it's not just the wrong size. It's only like about 3/4 size. It's the Discovery comm badge, not the Enterprise badge.
Oh, it's so cool.
So I've got the Enterprise badge.
The
Enterprise badge actually comes out. It's released on July 24th. I pre-ordered it from Amazon. So I'll
maybe this will solve that pesky licensing problem.
Wait a minute. The Discovery badge wasn't the same badge that Pike wore?
No, they're totally different.
No, it's reminiscent of the on when he wore the blue, he wore Discovery, but when he in his,
I didn't know the badges were different.
No, with his
totally
Enterprise
different.
Gold, right? They're just basically.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, they're metal. They're basically kind of metal versions of the TOS ones.
All right.
In terms of size, they're actually the same size as the patches were in the cage.
Yep.
Which were a little slightly smaller than the bigger ones that you saw on the regular TOS.
And I will say this, that I am beyond amazed. I did this as a lark. I figured, what the hell? It's $100. I get the pants and I get the top, and we'll see how it works out. Because ordering from China is always tricky because the sizing is always incredibly fucked up.
Sizing. Yeah.
Right.
Wait, you had to order the pants too? Why couldn't you just get black pants?
Because they're not the same. They're like really highly detailed, and they've got tons of.
So is this from the gray market, Sean?
I wouldn't even so much call it gray because
it's not a gray market; it's a red market.
Well, you can't copy what you can't. Well, yes, that's wow.
Jeez.
Yes. Mau.
Yeah,
all right, guys, let's get. Oh, and we have to ask Sun how she's doing because we haven't asked.
I haven't finished my review of my uniform. Hold on.
And
all right, review your uniform, then we'll ask how she's doing.
So anyway, I was really fine. I have a first contact from Anivos, okay, and I've never been happy with it because it never fit right, okay, and so. And I got this one. I figured $100 for a total gets me shipped here to the United States. So it works out. They're really good about the sizing because they give you a breakdown of exactly what you should order based upon real measurement. So I did. In this case, I would normally wear an extra large, but it's like in their crazy world, it's like a triple extra large.
Yep.
And I get it, and I got the pants too, and the top fits perfectly. The pants are actually. They're slightly on the big side because it was like either that or go up to the really next size larger. But it's okay because they've got an elastic in. And for the first time ever in the history of Star Trek pants, they included belt loops. So I put a belt on it. I may just get buttons on the inside so I get suspenders to keep them on. But hell, with a belt, it's covered anyway by the top. So
you know what would really freak me out? If they had pockets.
They do. Tons of pockets.
Because, that was a Roddenberry thing. No pockets in the future.
Right. And here's the thing. The actual, if you watch a show, you look at them, you see all these vertical lines. They're like, you got like parachute pant pockets on them from the 80s. No shit. Yeah. So there's tons of pockets all over them. And it's really cool.
That was the thing that went away with TNG, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You created a pocket for the phaser, a pocket for the tricorder.
Oh, God.
No, those were exterior.
Yeah.
But they were pockets.
No, they were not pockets in
the utility belt, right?
They were like a belt that.
Yeah. They made it blend in, so it looked like it was part of it, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and
they made it black, so the black was everything. Blends in.
I'm not just surprised at the sizing, the quality of this. I'm just shocked at how well it's made. And as Carlos has pointed out, though, in the past many times, you can't copyright clothing. So, I mean. So these are, as legit as they're going to be, and as anything else. But the detail is so well done. I'm flabbergasted how good they got this, especially for the price. So yeah, I'm very pleased, and I'm looking forward to cosplaying at a Trek convention for the first time in my life. My kids have done it many times. I've never done it.
We've seen pictures.
Yeah, Salt Vampire 1 and Salt Vampire 2.
Yes. Oh no! Oh, here's the thing. we got two things going on this year. We're gonna have the Khan and Kirk scene from Space Seed where they're fighting in engineering. So yeah, and I've already ordered that uniform.
Who's wearing the red engineer jumpsuit?
That's gonna be Harrison. I ordered this.
Of course, it's gonna be Harrison.
Oh yeah,
oh my God.
And I got to get the wig. So we're doing
Harrison
that.
makes a great Spock.
Yeah, and Hayden has also insisted, and I'm not kidding about this. Hayden wants to be the punk on the bus from Star Trek 4, and I am making that happen. Yep.
Yes.
I am so making that happen.
That is either hilarious or deeply disturbing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get. I'm gonna go to a thrift store. I'm gonna find him an '80s boombox, and it's gonna be blaring "I Hate You" over and over again. So.
Well, that kid is actually he's sort of famous. I forget
Kirk
why.
Thatcher?
Yeah, Kirk Thatcher. Yeah,
because he's a director now. He's big time. He was a production assistant for the longest time in Hollywood. He's got a long career in Hollywood. But he's really famous. In fact, he was actually in Spider-Man: Homecoming because the director of Spider-Man: Homecoming was such a fan of Star Trek 4, and he called up Kirk Thatcher. Hey, you want to do a cameo in here? So. Kirk Thatcher shows up. He's on the street corner. You blink. If you blink, you miss him. But he's like they're looking up, and he's actually credited as punk on the street. Of
course, as opposed to punk on the bus.
Right. Exactly. It's great.
All right, let's move on.
And he looks nothing. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. He looks nothing like he did back then. Big, long, Grizzly Adams, bushy beard, long hair, the whole 9 yards. It's great.
That's a cool story.
He's an old punk.
Cool story, bro. No, it really is actually. But let's move on to our first subject.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of interesting shit that went down yesterday with Picard teaser.
That's Star Trek Picard.
Trek Picard, you're right. Star Trek Picard teaser dropped, and then it didn't exist anymore. Dayton Ward announced it, and he's usually very careful about what he shares. And I looked at it, and I saw it, and then the next thing you know, when I shared it on Super Geeks, everybody's going, it doesn't exist anymore. And Sean, you had the theory that they did this as a marketing stunt.
I had no question. And initially, I had no question that's what it was. That this was all part of a guerrilla marketing campaign.
Was it posted on any of their official channels?
That's where it was with a complete description of it as well.
Because it spread fast. I saw it like 3 or 4 times.
Like wildfire, and then all of a sudden it was pulled.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like they weren't approved. Now, here's the only reason I slightly disagreed with you at the time that I said this in our chat is because I've seen examples like with Game of Thrones where, and I could be wrong, could have been part of the same strategy, but they claim that someone uploaded it prematurely without realizing that the boss, that they weren't meant to do that at that time. And then they go, oops, and then that person who's an employee, maybe they're new, and they go, oh, shit, and then they pull it.
Yeah, these guys are funny.
You go, what did you do?
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
And the reason why I don't see that happening is because the new Star Trek crew, the everybody involved in the production of these shows, they have been so locked down on this shit that that's just not happening. Remember, it's like you even brought this up, George, was that image of the Klingons that leaked first. And like within 48 hours, that guy was gone. He was gone. That'll never happen again. This was done on purpose.
Wait, which image of the Klingons? Remind me.
They were all sitting there. They were eating lunch.
Discovery.
It was when it was while the show was in production. It was the first.
Oh yeah, Discovery.
Somebody snapped him in the cafeteria. Is what happened.
Oh yeah.
And said new Klingons. Next thing you know, we know that they're gone. So that and it's funny how quickly that thing went up and down, because it's like I was talking to Gabe Kerner. Gabe Kerner was like, I got in the shower, and then I came out, and I heard there was a Picard trailer up, and now it's gone. So I mean, that's really how fast it happened. So I have no doubt that and it worked, because it got everybody talking about it. And of course, Joe, I think, was the one who found the direct link.
He did. He found the
snagged it, right? Yeah. Just one of the sites. And,
Good job, Joe.
Right, and Hayden's response, which is the best of all time, my kid, he said, so let me get this straight. He says, so the Star Trek Picard show is going to be about Picard as a farmer?
No, not a farmer. A great winemaker.
Hey, 6 to 1, half of a dozen when you're 8. I mean,
it's true. It's a grape farm.
It is kind of, yeah.
No, it is a grape farm.
There's a lot more that goes on, though.
We just call it a vineyard.
Right, a vineyard is just a grape farm. That's all it is.
I looked into, by the way, it was funny, too, because before this even came out, I had been curious about, because I brewed beer before, and it's a pain in the ass. And you have to, I'm not patient. So
You're kidding.
I know. But I used to brew beer, and I used a Mr. Beer kit. In fact, there used to be an almost sponsor on Starfinder. When I say almost sponsor, it's a long story. But the thing was that it takes It takes at least a couple of months, really, or a month at least, to brew and wait for everything to ferment just to make beer. And then I was like, oh, I like wine now. So then I'm looking at this before the Picard thing came out, and it takes 6 months minimum just to have a decent wine. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, 6 months? So, So now I understand why they need that huge vineyard, because they need to get everything going way ahead of time, make sure they're making plenty of shit so that it can ferment for 6 months, unless they have some kind of temporal technology.
Ooh, wait a minute. And now I think what you've just done, George, you have inadvertently created a metaphor for our wait for this show. Ooh, good job.
In what way?
What way?
This is where we need Casey on the broadcast so that he can.
Yeah, where is he?
Metaphor.
Where's Casey been? Metaphor alert.
Yeah.
Metaphor alert.
I am him right now.
This is where I need a PowerPoint presentation to explain all this to George. So,
I think I'm getting it now in hindsight.
Well, no, you pointed out how long it takes to ferment for the grapes to be planted, ferment, and grow, and all. And that's basically what we're doing right now. We're waiting for these grapes of the Picard show to grow and ripen and ultimately ferment into our series premiere. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that works. So as we get into the Picard teaser thing of everybody's going crazy about and comparing, all I ever see on the forums is, so does Countdown count? I mean, we talked about this on the show a couple of times, but it's now become a thing where people are going crazy about it. They're like, but everything's so similar to Countdown except for this part.
Didn't we actually talk about the teaser?
We did. The teaser has no reference to any of that. That's why I don't understand why this is all of a sudden becoming,
because people are taking and extrapolating the dates and what happened, how shouldn't be had been an admiral when he quit. He should have been an ambassador and all that.
There's 20 unspoken for years. Nobody out there can say anything about what should have happened.
Right.
20 years.
And not only that, here's the thing. From a military standpoint, I'm going to say this right now. If you're an admiral you're an admiral in the Navy, and you eventually become an ambassador, okay, what's going to happen is when you go back, if you go back to whatever, talk with your old people in your military organization, they're not going to refer to you as ambassador. They're going to refer to you as admiral. As your last title. So
your highest title is
your last highest rank, exactly. So that's what I mean. You can't really extrapolate anything from that he wasn't a ambassador. It's like, you look, I just watched All Good Things last night, and what caught my attention, if you watch All Good Things, is that Picard is repeatedly referred to as captain, okay, in All Good Things in the future scenes, even though they established they established in the very beginning of that episode that he was an ambassador.
Hey, keep talking about this, guys. I'll be right back. I just have to use the bathroom real quick.
All right. So, okay. So, and there I am. Okay. So, so it's not. It makes perfect sense that even if he was an ambassador, that if he's dealing with Starfleet people, they're going to refer to him as.
Yeah, they'd still refer to him as his last military title.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So I think that's about the only really, part of that trailer, when you think about it, that can really be interpreted in any kind of way, because it leaves nothing. Basically, all you know is
there's the whole voiceover, dude.
Yeah,
that's got lots of
Armada to rescue.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to interpret from that.
Yes.
Starting with who the hell was that talking?
Good point. Yep.
I really hope it's an older version of his lawyer lady friend.
Lawyer lady friend?
Oh, Philomena.
Yeah, from the data trial.
Yeah, from Measure of Man.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, by the way, last week I tried something, and I haven't done it in a long time, and that was to watch season 1 of Next Generation. It is fucking awful. I mean, all
yeah, it's bad.
I mean, I'm still laboring through this. I'm saying, how the fuck did this get picked up for a second season? I mean,
because it was in syndication.
Bad.
It was in syndication. It was pre-sold.
Oh, okay, well there you go then. That's how they did
it. Plus it did well in the ratings. I mean, yeah. No, I mean that was the beauty from a business standpoint of TNG, is it revolutionized television by creating a first-run syndication market. And all the other shows that came after it did so because Next Generation was such a success at that. And it was able to be a success because it aired in markets at whatever time it was guaranteed to get the biggest audience. It didn't have to compete for one time slot across the entire country.
Gee, what does that sound
Star Trek has never been able to compete on those terms.
No, but when you say that, Carlos, those words you just said, what does that sound like when we're talking like in contemporary times?
Oh, come on, please, let's not go off on that end, please.
Streaming channel?
Yeah! I mean, this is the thing. We were talking about this last week, that, and I brought this up, that it was absolutely the right decision to launch Discovery on its own streaming service. And when you look, and basically, like you said, it's setting a trend now, because now all of these other services, all these other production companies that have these in-demand franchises, these, such as Disney with Star Wars and Marvel, you've got the DC universe, you've got whoever the hell else is going to be up there next, they're all gearing to do it. From what I understand,
NBC Universal are doing their own, Warner Brothers is doing its own. So yeah, and unfortunately it's gonna, welcome back, Bruce. Unfortunately it's going to
tell who he is.
Who's Bruce? I don't know.
They're not all going to survive. They're not all going to survive. So
right.
It's going to be a question of who can survive longest, not making profits. And we don't know what that's going to be. I mean, the advantage goes to the early. It goes to Netflix. It goes to CBS All Access. Goes to Hulu. Goes to Disney Plus, just because of who they are and how much content they control.
Does that terrify anybody, honestly?
No.
It legitimately terrifies me how much content Disney now owns.
They're not a monopoly yet, Sunsail.
Well, no, they're not a monopoly, but it's puts them in a very, it gives them a lot.
They're Lex Luthor close.
And that article, son, that you mentioned, the 175 days countdown for Netflix's survival refers to the amount of time between now and when Disney Plus launches later in the year.
I'm just not.
And because the idea being that number one, Netflix is going to lose all of the Disney-owned content during that time.
But yeah, next month, almost all of Disney content is being pulled from Netflix.
Right. Well, it's not being pulled; their license is ending.
And then Amazon. Okay, you know what's funny? You were talking about this, Cross, because the thing about so one of the things I noticed is that they have a mutual, their interests are aligned. Amazon is growing, and CBS announced the global branding division. So it makes sense. Like, people are asking, why did they go to Amazon? Why not Netflix? Because their interests are aligned.
It's not just interest; it's also money. I mean,
well, that too.
The thing is, it's not really about interest. It's about, they have probably a short-term licensing deal while they work on building out their international streaming platform.
You think it's really short-term?
Well,
probably.
Sean literally talked about this last week.
I did. Discovery.
We did, but things have changed since then.
The deal. Well, here's the thing. The deals with Netflix have was between CBS and Netflix have traditionally been 2 years. Okay, so
well, Picard's only 3 years anyway. So
no, he means they just last. But that's for old content. That's for legacy.
Right. I don't know what the deal is specifically, if it's year to year with Discovery or not. I don't know what the deal is with that. But the legacy content.
Oh, my guess is they have Discovery for as long as Discovery is being produced.
Yeah, I would imagine it's basically in perpetuity. Is it until the show goes off?
If it's branded as a Netflix original, that means it's theirs in the sense that it can't be pulled.
Oh, so you're saying Discovery is still connected to Netflix, but Picard is with Amazon.
Well, right, but the other side of this too, though, is that my question is, how does that affect the legacy catalog for Netflix?
Well, at this point, the legacy catalog is on both platforms.
That's true, it is. But I'm curious: is CBS going to have to renew their deal for the legacy catalog at the end of their standard
at this point,
contract?
the legacy catalog is a non-exclusive license, so it doesn't really change the math.
But I understand that. But it's still set for a specific term, though. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you guys a question, and let's get outside of the wheel of that. As far as the teaser for Picard, let me ask Sun. What did you think of what we learned from this teaser as far as where everybody's trying to extrapolate? Is it the Romulan thing, the homeworld, the Hobus thing? Like, what is this? What is this rescue armada? Like, I think it's pretty clear because they did say
you're answering the question that you're asking.
I know.
I'm sorry.
How about if you let Sun?
Son, what do you think?
First, I'll be completely honest. I really don't care. I'm not in any way hyped. This was just here's what we're introducing. Okay, cool. That promotional poster of the vineyard in the shape of the Delta. That's nice. Cool. I'll wait for the episodes to come out to give it any kind of anything, because look at what people have done with Discovery. I don't want to be a part of that.
Even our friend Robert Meyer Burnett, his comment on that Delta in the vineyard was that something like, I know I'm supposed to like this, but does no one at CBS understand that that's the wrong font and the wrong Delta? By the time of TNG, there was no more star in the Delta, and the Next Generation has its own font. But that's the thing. It's the same branding as Discovery, though.
Yeah, right.
It makes sense from a branding standpoint for the fonts to be the same. And plus, that Next Generation font has not aged well.
Aged well at all. It's very 80s.
I hope they don't use LCARS, by the way, in the new show at all.
Why?
I'm sure they'll do something different.
I really don't.
It's going to be updated, no doubt, but I'm sure it's going to be the same.
Well, they'll have
idea.
You're going to see a consistent, user interface.
You guys know that Mike Okuda and Doug Drexler are working on Picard, right?
No,
I didn't know that.
No,
yes, they are. Yeah,
they are.
Yeah,
oh,
I got news of that this week. They're both working on Picard.
That's awesome.
That's actually cool as far as like things like ship design and all that shit. But
I think it's great because I'm glad to see that for a Picard centered show that we've got a crossover. We have a bridge between the creatives that were involved with that. I think that's nice. I think it's a good touch. And these guys
but make
probably
note
know
that
more
they're
about
the technical creatives,
right,
not
exactly.
the story creatives.
do you know Kuda drew the Elcars? Didn't he create them?
Who?
Yeah.
Kuda did. Yeah.
Right.
Mike
So
Kuda.
you'll update them, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah, I expect that to be the case, and I think you're right. And when you look at the technical side of it, I would think that it's fair to say there's going to be, whereas we don't have it discovered, there will probably be a visual, not similar to like a transition, as it were, between the end of the Next Generation era and now. We'll see like an updated version of that is what I
like a technical guide, updated version thing.
Yeah, I mean similar to things of what we're used to. Because
Hey, Orville did it. And we'll talk about that in another segment. But yeah,
Orville. I think the thing is, I just don't think the Orville is an example.
No, I'm just saying
Star
they made
Trek
a guide
football.
when they made the show. That's all I'm saying. They wanted to go to that care of making everything aligned so that like we're being careful about, we know our world. This is our Bible. This is our visual guide. That's what the Okotas were always great at, and if they're involved, then that means they're probably going to do a transitional guide.
Well, I expect it. Right, I expect obviously a 20-year update, a technological update.
Right.
But I don't expect it necessarily. I don't think there's a need for it to have to adhere to the design, neural design principles.
No,
because if you look at LCARs, I mean, back then on low resolution television, when you were looking at screens that were only like 20 something inches.
Mm-hmm.
LCARs looks fantastic. But if you actually look at LCARs in high resolution, it's a lot of wasted space. It doesn't really give a lot of room.
It's like almost blocky. It's blocky.
Yeah, it's very blocky. It's beautiful. Again, from a distance, it looks.
Yeah, from a distance, I agree.
But once you get close, that's a horrible way to try to present information. It just is. And so I think that with the benefit of 20 years of technology, 20
years of hindsight.
Exactly. That the Akutas are going to come up with something really great.
Yeah,
they're going to be beholden to their own, or constrained by their own earlier creation. There's no reason.
These are incredibly talented people. They were incredibly talented when they gave us a vision of the future in 1987 throughout the 90s. Okay, so yeah, I expect them nothing but the best. What I'd love to see is Rick Sternbach get a job on the show too, because I love Rick.
Oh, that would be cool.
He's fantastic.
He's wonderful.
That'd be awesome.
I showed you guys my binders I have of the technical notes.
Binders full of Sternbach.
Yeah, binders full of Sternbach. Yeah, basically what they are, really quickly, they're 5-inch binders each.
I want to see schematics of the vineyard.
They're 5-inch binders of the technical notes and memorandums on Next Generation and Voyager. And basically what it is, it's a lot of sketches and things like that, but it's a ton of memos back and forth between the art department, his department, and the writers. And basically it's just a fascinating look into the ideas that were bouncing back and forth off each other, and how the writers would go to Rick and Michael and Doug and everyone else to make sure that they tried to get the continuity right and get the tech right. And it was this attention to detail.
Doug Drexler, was that his name?
Doug
Doug
Drexler.
Drexler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's getting Rick involved. Rick knows his stuff, but the great thing about Rick Sternbach is he comes from a perspective of the show is the story. The text should not take over in place of good storytelling. He's very adamant about the story comes first. So, like often what would happen is he would tell the writers, "Hey, look, here's the thing. You really shouldn't do that because we did this in this episode, so it kind of doesn't make sense. But I understand if you do, because it's actually better for the storytelling. So go ahead, just ignore it." So, and they often did that in the show. And that's why when people say, you point out that, well, the continuity from this episode doesn't work, it's because they knew most of the time They just didn't care because it was just more important to tell a good story, which of course Next Generation and the other series did succeed at so many times. So, and there you have it.
I want to point out that I've been very disappointed, and Joe and I talked about this, and everybody talked about this in the chats earlier. I've been very disappointed in the fandoms, in the Picard forums, talking about his age being a big deal, and about all the crap they want to like argue about, like before the show.
Please, can we not give time to this? That's extraneous bullshit.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you there, son.
I mean, this is the toxic
oxygen.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah, the oxygen in the room.
You know, I think it speaks for themselves. If they're complaining about Patrick Stewart's age, it's like I don't think
the arguments I saw was that age they should have had the technology.
Yeah, that's Fanway. I mean,
and I argued to them that
Stewart is playing one of the best characters in television again. We should love that.
Yeah, and people that want to argue about the modern technology views, transporters, if you really want to get into it, should have killed you, and then duplicates take over as soon as you step out of the transporter pad. If you really want to get into the modern...
That's more of a philosophical...
Yeah, well...
That's a
metaphysical discussion. Yep.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so we're all looking forward to the show. That's
I do want to point out that you guys went off on this Elcar's tangent. And
well, I mean...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You guys went off on this Elcar's tangent. And what if it is really just a show about Picard being on the Vineyard? The most technological thing in that house would probably be a replicator.
And he goes to Starfleet to say, "Will you please not only upgrade my VA status?"
So that's why you needed the pen.
Will you please not only upgrade my VA status, but will you buy my fucking wine, even though you don't have...
Can we talk about that little clip?
Yes.
The clip about, him going up and saying,
what's my name? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, it's the first like close up we get of the new uniform. And unfortunately, I think, and this may be just a function of the actor they chose to play that cadet or whatever he was.
Talk about the uniforms. You're right. It's been a couple of weeks.
They look goofy.
They don't fit.
It's like,
I mean, this is the same argument you could have about any uniform in any kind of.
Actually, no. It's actually, I don't care for
Discovery.
Nope. I hate the people.
No, it's not. It wasn't tailored. This kid looks like an extra.
No, you're wrong. I was in the military. They didn't make the uniforms to fit. It doesn't. It's not what happened.
You're right, George. But this is TV, George.
I know, but that's why Riker did the tug, because they're doing it for television.
First of all,
I'm sorry, but the real uniform,
and it was a character.
Nobody cares about if it fits so tight that you look good.
We should care.
We're going to tailor it to you. They don't do that.
It's not about tailoring. Well, it is about tailoring, but it's about
where you lose.
And George, arguments about what happens in real life military are completely.
I know, but it just.
What I'm saying is that a television show, for any sort of principal character that appears that says lines, usually they take the time to do a good fitting of a uniform costume. Yep. Now, there's a couple of reasons why that might not have happened here. One is they probably did want the kid to look kind of goofy because he doesn't know who Jean-Luc Picard is.
He was also like an ensign, right, or something like that.
Whatever. I mean, the point is it helps for him to look goofy, so he does. But I'm hoping that the tailoring is actually just a little bit better on actual people.
Here's the thing. I have another theory about this too.
Hold on, Sean, because Joe's been trying to pipe up and he's been careful.
Go ahead, George. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, I think you remember when the first Discovery teaser came out and it was that really subpar CGI.
Yeah.
Yes, the ship I still want.
Right.
I think it's kind of the same thing. Like,
I don't think so, because they were actually, this is for footage from the pilot. I mean,
yeah,
it's not CGI that's easily replaced. You're not going to send an entire, cast and crew out to the Anaheim Convention Center again to do it for real.
Reshoot it with the right uniform fit.
But here's what I'd like to point out is that scene, as we saw it, may not even exist in the pilot.
True.
That very well That could have just been a dress rehearsal or a stage, because you don't see him in the same frame. So
you're right.
That kid may not even be in that episode. And the bigger point is, you have never on any Star Trek show seen a uniform that wasn't a costume that wasn't perfectly tailored. This has nothing to do with the military. This has to do with the way it's always been on Star Trek. Especially if you look at Discovery, with how complicated those uniforms are. I mean, those things are cut to fit every single character on that show.
You should know, right?
I would know. In fact, I'm thinking about having mine just slightly altered, just so I can try to match that, to be honest.
You have to get over that beer gut.
You're not kidding.
You need a corset. You need a Shatner corset.
How do you think I feel about my bat costume? Anyways, gonna keep it loose. Anyway, you never know what's gonna happen. Those rubber suits don't grow themselves. Anyways, to keep it tight. No, but it's true though that the uniform tightness. See, the thing is like with Discovery. TNG. The thing is we all enjoyed. They look good, but the thing was like
the later seasons look.
Yeah, the later. Yes.
The first 2 seasons, they were awful.
Right, the spandex uniforms were except for the mini skirt with Troy. Other than that, that's me.
Nope.
But other than that, yeah, I agree. So they had to do Riker had to do the tug, and so did Picard, because you really think they were comfortable in those things? I wore one of those, by the way, in years past at a convention. They're not comfortable.
Yeah, but you didn't wear the one made by.
That's why it's called acting.
And in Generations, they were wearing the ones from other actors from DS9 or wherever. They were like trying to see who could fit in what, from what I heard in the backstory. So they were like, whoever fits in this one, this yellow collar, it could be Data's uniform. But they were wearing they weren't making new uniforms for example.
That's not what they did for the main actors. They did that for the extras.
No. Brent Spiner was wearing a reused or reworn uniform from one of the DS9 actors. All of them. They didn't make new ones. They took whoever was the closest fit, and I read about this.
Yeah, but they still tailored them to.
No.
Right, exactly.
Of course they did. It was a feature film.
Right.
They have a budget for that.
Right, exactly.
They took the closest, making sure they sort.
No, they have tailors on site that do this right on.
That's not what I read.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong, because that's not the way movie making works.
Right, and here's the other side of this too: is using Brent.
But
using Brent Spiner as an example is not a good one, because Brent through his entire run of TNG and beyond had back problems. He had to wear a back brace throughout the run. So I mean,
I just remember reading that when they switched to the jumpsuits from DS9 in the middle of the Generations, they were borrowing the uniforms from actors from DS9 because they didn't have everything.
Well, they still tailored them.
I see what you mean. Okay, yeah, they tailored them.
I'd just like to point out that
more complicated things to make on a feature film budget. They just weren't.
Right.
You know? I would think it more likely that DS9 took the Generations uniforms and used them on DS9, because a television show has a much smaller costume budget than a feature film.
But DS9 came before that.
Doesn't matter. They're going to need uniforms throughout the whole rest of their
I'm sure you're right about after the fact, but at that point. But Sam, what were you going to say?
I want to point out the fact that you guys are arguing with George over uniforms that have no fucking bearing on what we're talking about.
I don't even have that.
Well, how much can we talk about a teaser trailer?
Yeah, I mean,
it isn't about.
Well, that's why I only brought it up with regards to the design.
Yeah, and by the way, Sean, in regards to, I know you don't like trailers in general, and you want to see the final product. Mm-hmm. But in this case, the only reason it's worth talking about this is because of the fan reaction to the concept of what they've seen as a whole.
I don't mind. Look, when it comes to, I make an exception for Star Trek. I'm excited about trailers for Star Trek. Anything else, I give a fuck. I mean, honestly, especially when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because, like, I know all these characters.
It's about knowing, trying to figure out what's going on, and people arguing about like what they're seeing. They're micromanaging every little detail. I would hope CBS would know by now that you need to make sure you're careful about what you put out.
No, they literally don't care.
They don't, because like when they put it, like Sun said, when they just rushed out that first CGI docking sequence with Discovery with the early version of it, it was like, did they not realize what was about to happen when they did that?
Well, no. Here's the thing. I have some contacts in CBS, legitimate ones, and they've learned a lot from this adventure from Discovery from late 2015 to now. So they're well versed in this, right, as it were, and in how to deal with the marketing involved. So there's nothing worth really criticizing in the Picard teaser, in my opinion. It's lots to talk about. The things that were mentioned in it. There's lots to speculate about, but nothing really worth criticizing though.
I laughed because you're mentioning the fact that they learned all of that stuff from that first teaser of the Discovery ship.
Not the first one, but it's a lot of stuff that
right. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but it reminds me of a current controversy going on right now. That first teaser and the backlash to that look of the Discovery significantly changed what the Discovery ship looked like, almost like Sonic the Hedgehog controversy going on right now.
I knew that's where you were going. I knew that's where you were going on this. Yeah,
we will get to that. Let's move on a little bit. We all agree that the Picard series teaser.
It's just a teaser.
Just a teaser. I'm excited. It was enough to make me intrigued. I'm not going to get all caught up like the fans are about exactly the micromanagement of the details about when it takes place.
You just did that.
No, but earlier today, and we didn't talk about this briefly, the dates. I mean, I don't want to get into this whole math thing, but it was.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my God!
Honestly,
I'm not going to make
it's not worth worrying about.
The
date is going to be what they tell us.
It's not worth worrying about. It's not worth worrying about what the dates are. It is not worth worrying about what the.
One thing.
It's not worth worrying what the event is. It is not worth worrying.
2402 is what.
Not worth worrying about until it gets here.
I'm not worried about it, but I'm guessing 2402 because of what conclusion I came to. Anyways, so let's move on. So it's going to be a good show. I don't care. It's got Picard. It's got Patrick Stewart. It's got the whole theme of what's going on. So I'm good.
George, before we go, I did want to bring up something, and that
Sure.
is, I had a long discussion the other night with my actual real inside contact high up at CBS.
And I know that you're, yeah.
And what I wanted to talk about, this contact told me that it heavily, let me put it this way, heavily implied, without coming out and saying it, that CBS has been working on. They basically
Tell us, Sean.
Basically, since they started watching the dailies of season 2 of Discovery and watching how fantastic Anson Mount was, and then watching how fantastic Ethan Peck was, that they've been working on a Pike show pretty much since that point, developing one. That was the
implication. I expected a Pike show.
Yeah, they didn't come right. He didn't. My contact did not come right out and say this, but the implication was very heavily to that effect of, well, what do you think that we were? Yeah, exactly. What do you think we saw when we were watching the dailies? I mean, basically, what it came down to.
It's not like number 2 was number 1. It's number 1 was number 1, and we had a number 1 hit.
Yeah, so
they
knew, like I suspected, we talked what before, was that they knew that the audience, what the audience reaction be, just based on their own reaction to the performances given by Anson Mount and Ethan Peck. So I would not be surprised.
And Rebecca Romaine.
Romaine. But it's sad we didn't see enough of her. And
I know, but that's why they made a big deal of her.
Yeah,
right.
And it wasn't because of what we were going to see on Discovery.
No, wait a minute.
We were going to see in her own series.
We didn't see a lot of her, but what we saw of her, she was ahead of the game.
Thank you. That was exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Yep. So I would not at all be surprised if we get a Pike show series announcement at STLV this year. Now, the other side of this too, and I put it in, and I think because considering how, like I said, the implication of how long they've been considering this. I'm going to guess that they actually changed the final episode of the season to send Giorgio with the Discovery into the future, because that solves a lot of problems for them. Because we know we have a Section 31 series that's in development. Exactly. So,
They did point out real quick. They did point out it will not begin production till the end of Discovery season 3.
Yeah, I understand that.
Or did they say it won't be released? I don't know.
It won't. But here's what it comes down to now. Now that they've given Michelle Yeoh and Giorgio an out by putting her in the future, they can keep her on the show longer. And by keeping her on the show longer, they don't have to jump into developing a Section 31 show before developing a Pike show.
But they already are developing the Section 31.
I understand. I understand that, but they can.
But notice the delay.
Really
Discovery season 3.
They keep delaying it. Yeah.
No.
That's it.
Because it's story reasons. Michelle Yeoh's character is. They said after Discovery season 3, then, because obviously she's with them in the future. So
what I'm getting at here is that these two shows may be being developed.
They're syncing.
They're at a parallelly, but they set it up so that they can put more effort on getting Pike out first before Section 31.
I think
because because they can just keep Michelle Yeoh on Discovery for however long they want. So it works out. It makes a lot of sense.
I think they're sort of doing a sort of revolving plan, and they always have this, but they didn't want to announce anything ahead of time. I think you're right.
And I think and for everyone that says that CBS doesn't pay attention to the fans, well, that's bullshit, because they do. I mean, they responded heavily to the fans.
Well, and for anyone who says CBS doesn't get Star Trek, they're also wrong, because
they're dead wrong.
Because
Absolutely.
they figured this out even before it aired.
Right, and the thing about Section 31 is, as much as I want to see a Section 31 show, nobody's really clamoring for that. But everybody's
they're not
clamoring for
it, but I think.
But everyone's clamoring for a Pike show, is what it comes down to. So
I think they sensed that there could be the. I think they sensed this would happen, Sean. So I think you're right. I think they were kind of during the chemistry, during the making of it. I think they realized there was something there, and they were kind of reserving for a reaction, because they knew they had to wait to see a little bit of reaction to justify what they thought they should do.
Well, I mean, I guess
a little bit. Like, I know they don't always.
Here's the thing. I think what it comes down to with CBS is that they have learned a lot of lessons about the marketing for Discovery, and they took a lot of risks in putting it on CBS All Access. And they're taking this a step at a time, just like, and they're being very methodical, very strategic about how they're marketing this whole new brand of Star Trek. And they're taking it in phases, kind of like the MCU or the Star Wars universe. They're taking this in phases, in different stages, a step at a time.
That's fair.
And what they're doing, like, for example, with what we're all sure of, was a guerrilla marketing tactic. 48 hours ago.
We're not all sure of that, but it's a good guess.
I'm not sure of it, but
okay. Well,
I honestly think it could have been a mistake, but either way, it worked out in their favor.
Okay. The point being here, though, is that they're being very strategic about all of this, and I think it's I think we can expect great things to come.
Yes,
Joe, yes, go.
All right, so they're being strategic about things to come. How does that differ with TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise, the 90s, compared to now? Like, what's the difference between their strategic thinking for the strength of the franchise for
streaming?
Back
because
then
versus
now,
it's ratings, and now it's about subscribers.
Here's the thing.
Here's the major difference. It's different people. It's different people. None of the people who are making those decisions in the 80s and 90s are making the decisions today. So that's
and one of them is,
and it's a big difference. So that's the difference. I mean, plus you're now dealing with a streaming platform where you don't have to worry as much about scheduling. You know, you don't have a season per se in which, like, you used to always have to, it has to premiere either in September, October, or January, February.
They used to
and now you can premiere it whenever the hell you want. I mean, those are big differences because it gives you a lot more flexibility. Difference number 3, these are all much shorter seasons.
Yep.
They're half the size.
Yep.
So that gives them more time to develop, more time to shoot, and longer hiatuses to do development and writing and so forth. So all of those things are good things.
I will also I point out another major difference is the approach back in the 80s and 90s. Look, we were dealing with an era that was still very terrestrially oriented when it comes to our TV. We had when Next Gen premiered, I think there were 45 cable channels and only 3 major networks. Was Fox even, I think, maybe 4 major networks at that point. Okay, so it was a difference, and that's how you got your TV, either cable or from your from over the air.
In a second, let's move on because we're really
okay. Okay,
go ahead.
So
we're still on topic 1.
Right. So you know, and at the height of its popularity, TNG in syndication was getting 14 million viewers a week. Okay, and that's insane. Okay, but now with the amount of competition out there for your viewers on basic cable, on premium cable, on just standard network television, and now on streaming platforms, it's a completely different approach they have to take. And you got to think about this too. We are really in the infancy of this new digital era of television as well. So, you know, it's the approach that they're taking, this kind of methodical approach to it, I think is the right one to do. Testing the waters with all this stuff as it goes.
Okay.
So,
all right. I want to skip over the next one and we'll go back to it if we have time, because I feel it's more because of what we talked about. I would like to point out, because it sort of segues off of this whole topic. Let's talk about the fact that the Orville got renewed for season 3, because I feel like it's been a long delayed topic we haven't talked about.
Sure.
We will hopefully talk about Terminator. There's more news to come from that. All we got was a trailer from that. But Orville, the news that they got, we didn't know. We speculated. We talked about the season, how we felt about it. Carlos, by the way, did you ever watch the Dolly Parton episode?
No, I still haven't watched that.
Damn
one.
it! All right,
sorry, okay. I forgot. All
right, it's fine. I'm telling you, you'll like it. But anyways, so Orville did get the green light. Late in the game, but they did get the renewal for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, what do you think about that? I mean, you haven't seen the Dolly episode, but.
Well, I mean, just based on what I have seen this season, I think, you know, they did a spreadsheet and the spreadsheet showed it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was worth doing. You know, there's a critical mass of audience reception and critical reception that goes into it. Ratings obviously go into it. Timing, like I think they're not premiering until winter of 2020.
Yeah, that's which they did this year too.
This year too. So so they still have, you know, quite a long hiatus for you know, for prepping the show, and it's still and was it, how many episodes was it? 13, 12?
14. They had the same amount as Discovery this year.
Okay.
14.
Okay. So so again, shorter season than a typical network broadcast network show. And then again, the California tax breaks, which make a huge difference. So, you know, they look at bottom lines. So people who think that ratings are the only thing, they used to be, you know, 25, 30, 40 years ago, but today they're just one of many factors
that
go
into what you just said, because
cancellation decision.
Fox isn't streaming yet as far as how they're handling the show. So our ratings...
No. That's not true. Its highest ratings come from streaming.
Oh,
right.
So is Fox now looking at that?
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
It's Live Plus 7 ratings are through the roof.
Yeah,
they're no subscribers.
Here's the thing. There's the two deciding factors for Orville being renewed had nothing to do with their live same day viewing. It had to do with, as Carlos pointed out, the tax break, because their tax break went from 14.5 to 15.8
million. All right, so that affected the spending.
Right, exactly.
That's probably 2 episodes worth of budget right there.
All right.
Right, exactly. So you've got that right there. And the other fact is, like Carlos said, it is literally Fox's lowest rated dramatic show on television for live same day. But their OTT their DVR, their delayed viewing, their live 7, they're at 11 million. It's fucking insane.
That's huge. That's huge.
How
for,
huge that show
for this
is. Right.
for these days.
And what that says is that, even though I don't think this has anything to do with Fox anymore, but from a Disney perspective, Disney now owns 20th Century Fox. This show is going to have a great life after its run is over. Whenever it goes off the air and goes purely into streaming, into syndication, to whatever the case may be, that show is going to be a moneymaker. It may not be making money for them now.
Seth MacFarlane is great at doing that.
It has a future. It really does.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane is great at making shows like that. Family Guy does that. American Dad does that.
Well, let me ask Son, what do you think of Orville being renewed?
I'm glad for it, but I think it happened pretty much just the way Sean predicted, that Disney suddenly acquired all of this Fox property, and then Comcast sold its stake in Hulu, and then suddenly Disney snaps it up, and guess what? We get the renewal of the Orville.
Yeah, it makes sense for all the parties involved entirely, and not for nothing. Look, as critical as I've been of the Orville, I certainly enjoy it. The other side of the coin too is that I think it made huge strides in season 2 as opposed to season 1. And I'm really expecting that we're going to see a show in season 3 that really stands on its own. I think that they've because I think they're going to be allowed to. It's one of the things. It's like I was having this discussion the other night with my contact at CBS about Rick Berman, and that with all the shit that Rick Berman gets, you have to understand that how much Rick Berman had to run offense or play defense against the studio themselves to stop from interfering with how the shows would be, the episodes would be, and how difficult that is for any kind of showrunner to do. And it's not until you actually prove yourself and that you have some chops, you have some power, that you can really take advantage of that. And I expect that, with this renewal, this 3rd season renewal, and the value of the property increasing the way it is, that you're going to see the showrunners of the Orville be able to stand out more on their own, be not so tied to this
vision of Star Trek.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, because
I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way.
Well, no, I'm hopeful too, but we have to remember that these creators were creatively exhausted with Star Trek by the time, well, frankly, by the time they got to Voyager.
Yeah.
And Enterprise just sealed the deal.
Uh-huh.
So we have yet to see, and they're now on a show where Seth MacFarlane has a lot of power, and they've done 2 seasons of it, and all we've seen is TNG retread and TOS retread. You don't agree, Joe?
No. We've seen Galaxy Quest, the 1st season. The 2nd season, when you get to the last half of the 2nd season, I couldn't get through it. I want to go back to the 1st season where it was like lighthearted, poop and pee jokes.
Yeah, but Joe, have you seen the
Dolly Parton episode?
Have you seen the Dolly Parton episode?
The Dolly Parton episode was hilarious. But, don't try to...
It wasn't just hilarious. It was fantastic.
But see, that's exactly what he means by it's Galaxy Quest. Look, these aliens suddenly adopt what Dolly Parton as some kind of theme. That's Galaxy Quest. That's that pure taking Trek and subverting it with pop culture.
It's
nice.
The Dolly episode for me was like, that was a sales pitch right there. Like,
as much as I agree with Joe here. As much as people want to compare it to Trek, okay, sure, you can do that all you want to. And at that point, you're going to do nothing but constantly hate the Orville, because you're doing nothing but constantly comparing it to Trek.
I don't.
It's fair though, son.
Look, I like it. I like it enough that I have torrented both seasons in 1080p 5.1. Okay, that's how much I like it. Because
I didn't have to try it because somebody. Anyways, I don't
have. No, here's the problem with that. I would have bought it. I'd buy it on Blu-ray, but it's not on Blu-ray. Is the problem?
But dude, who in the universe has ever done a battle scene with Dolly Parton's 9 to 5? I mean, that was amazing. That's incredible.
But
It was
again,
very clever, George. Okay, let's everybody who's seen the episode give George what he wants. We love that fucking episode, George. Okay, we did.
Well, if you saw it, Carlos. Look, I got
Carlos. Just say you fucking love
my
it.
shadow. I got
please.
I'm like that one chicken on Xena. I got 4 arms. Anyways.
but the main point being is you have to treat the Orville like it's a Seth MacFarlane property, not like it's Star Trek.
But here's son, the only problem with that is that they intentionally went out of their way to make this show like TNG.
Yeah,
they're honest about it. They don't bullshit about it.
Yeah,
Right. It's Seth MacFarlane's TNG.
But if anything, the marketing was the reverse. He tricked it. He even talks about this. He tricked them. If you watch the original trailer, you got this one expectation, and then it turned into the other. It wasn't like a pure comedy. He was trying to throw in. All of a sudden, he wanted to throw in, but we can be serious too. And everybody was like, "What the fuck?"
No, basically, here I will tell you this from someone I know who worked on the show. Okay, that very simply.
I know who you're talking about. Go ahead.
Seth MacFarlane's approach to this was very simple. He wanted to make his own version of TNG.
Yeah.
And basically what it comes down to is that the guys at Fox says, "Hey, aren't you the guy that does Family Guy? Why don't you throw some Family Guy in there and we'll let you do
Just sell it. I get it."
And so he conceded because, well, they're going to give me the green light to show. And if you notice, even after the first pilot, it's dramatically subdued. That kind of comedy goes like it starts like at a 10, and by the 3rd or 4th episode, it's like about a 5 or 6, and then it's slowly easing out of that.
Nothing funny about it from any season,
except until the part where
they were doing it. They were constantly doing it, and I didn't have a problem so much.
They tried. I get you there.
The pilot is like it's nothing but slapstick. Family Guy type.
I appreciate the dry humor of the show. That's what
But here's the thing.
But it's not dry humor. They literally have a
gelatinous Saturday Night Live season.
They're trying to do, and I think it's noble for them to try to do this. They've been trying to subdue that comedy, to squeeze the comedy in, the more situational comedy that's the contemporary audience.
Like MASH. That's what they always. It was always.
Oh, please don't do that.
No. This is not MASH. This is nowhere near MASH. It is nowhere near as well written,
George.
character-driven
Hey,
as MASH.
I take it back. Pull it back. I'm reining it in because I realize drama really is quality as MASH.
We can look. I have no problem with what they're trying to do. I just want to see them stand out on their feet a little bit more on this. And like I said, I'm hoping with the surge of confidence, hoping they've gotten from this renewal for season 3, that we're going to see more of that, more independent, and hopefully more independent stories. Like I said, the 4 episodes that I loved the most in the season were the episodes that were completely original, that dealt with contemporary ideas. And of course, my favorite episode from the first season was when they go to that planet and everything's based on likes. It was basically like an Instagram type thing. The button, right? I love that episode. It was so timely. No one's ever done that before. And the episode, of course, my favorite episode this season was the episode with the cell phone and how he basically creates that woman's entire life based on her cell phone. I love that episode.
Okay,
it was perfect. That was an homage to TNG style, TOS style writing.
I agree with
the best of it. They did a great job. I want to see more of that in season 3.
Hate to be a dick, but let's move on because we really are slowly pacing this.
You hate to be a dick? I don't think. No, you don't.
No, really, because I could have 5 subjects, and we're like.
The one thing, before we do move on.
All right,
the one thing I want to point out is I really honestly think they had to majorly overhaul the arc script for season 2 with Isaac and the Doctor.
Oh, I agree with you there.
Not because of the writing in season 2, but because of the hatred that people had for Yaphet in season 1. Because everything that Yaphet did in season 1 to try and win the heart of the Doctor, that whole "I'm an alien and I don't understand human beings" space and all that stuff is the exact same stuff that Isaac went through. But people seem to love Isaac and hate Yaphet for the exact same thing.
I don't know how to disagree with you more than 100.
I love Yaphet.
But anyways, so
Yaphet.
It's,
What's really funny about this? Here's the thing about with Sun's observations. I won't point this out. I love Sun's observations because she brings up things that I had never even considered. I didn't even know that was a controversy. But it's like I'm not. I guess I'm not deep enough into the discussions on the Orville.
He's like a sexual harassment guy.
But I didn't know there was a big concept. I don't see the thing about it. My problem with Isaac is Isaac should have been deactivated. Sorry,
talking about Yaphet.
I know, and I'm saying this way. I don't understand. I don't understand fans' love for Isaac and their dismissal of Yaphet. Yaphet is funny. I mean,
I'll tell you exactly why.
Ask Carlos.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
And thank you, Sensiel, for knowing I'd know. Because Yaphet, from the beginning, from the get-go, was a comedy character. And he behaved in frankly ridiculous ways. That is the point of Yaphet.
Right.
That is, whereas Isaac is a dramatic character who sometimes does funny things, but he's Data. Exactly. Data sometimes did funny things, but he was an absolute serious character with his own arc, his own dramatic arc, and you don't see that with Yaphet. I think you begin to see that a little bit more. Like I actually like Yaphet in season 2. In season 1, I thought he was just annoying and
Hey, Yaphet becomes a hero in season 2.
But that's
pretty much a badass.
Entirely. That's my point entirely. This whole development of a love thing between the Doctor and Isaac seems to have this sudden turn where we have Yaphet protecting Ty at a scene where if there was that same connection between Yaphet and the Doctor, you would see that emotionally. You could see that I will protect him with my life.
Dramatically speaking, it was because of the kids and the relationship between the father figure. That's what it was all about. It wasn't about being a blob or a robot.
No, it's not that. What I'm talking about is that devotion to the Doctor, that I will protect him with my life. That wouldn't really be there if there was supposed to be that separation. That he was never meant to be with the Doctor.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
You're looking only because you're looking at this far deeper than I did. But I'm if you're on Team Yaphet, I'm with you because I like Yaphet. I love that character. I think it's great comic relief, and like I said, he's had his great hero moments in season 2. I thought he was great, and I expect too, because who expects the kid's jar of ectoplasm to really become a hero? I mean, nobody does. It's just
maybe Magic Hero. I don't know. Anyways, I guess you're right.
Hey, good call. That's an Odo reference. Very good.
Let's talk about something that Carlos posted and we wanted to talk about, which is the reaction to the Game of Thrones finale, which has caused sonic waves to go across the internet.
Sonic booms
in a way that just makes me shake my head. Every time I watch a reaction show, and I like to watch these things because you get a feel for the general, even though there are people just wanting to film their shit, you get a feel for the general, like whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's all these people, and they watch it, and 90% of the people that really are flipping out that I've seen, I'm only going by what I've seen, I'm not trying to generalize, the women get really emotional and they get pissed off about what happened with Danny, and they can't understand why Brandon became.
Okay, that is completely unfair.
It is unfair. I'm sure. I'm going by what
as many men be upset with that too. It is not. That is not a break along gender lines.
Like I just said,
where's my no button? Where's my no button?
Where's your no button?
Hold on, Carlos. I'm going by what I saw when I rewatched lots of reactions. I didn't say it was the entire population. I'm just saying.
Then I don't understand what your point is, because if you're saying
my point is,
let him finish. Well, let him finish.
Go ahead.
No, George.
He made his point. His point was women broke this way.
No, that wasn't my point. I'm just telling you that the majority, and I love women, I love men, I love women.
That's a red flag right there, George.
Oh my God! Some of my best
You have to
friends
say
are
you
women.
love
Holy
women.
shit.
No, I'm
Probably
just
about to say
telling
something
you.
misogynistic.
Well, because you made me feel defensive.
I
have to say that when I saw the reactions, all the reaction videos,
Good
it
Joe.
was usually the women that
Agreed,
were the most
Joe.
like upset
Exactly.
about what happened on this show. I'm not saying I'm not trying to be. I'm just being bunker real.
I think you're wow. I think you're taking a very this is a very subjective observation because I have seen it from all sides.
Yep.
The complaints about this, and what I'm seeing are people who really, quite honestly, have not been paying attention. Is really what it comes down to.
I agree with you.
And it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do.
I'm not saying it does. I'm just observing.
Okay, and I'm telling you that,
women see it this way. You are making it about gender.
Okay.
I
yes.
didn't finish. That's
okay,
why
but,
you're jumping.
But George, you've said that though. Is the thing is that what I'm telling you is that in my subjective observations is that I'm seeing this equally across all gender lines. It's just a matter of the show did not live up to the expectations they wanted, is what it comes down to. The people who are complaining. This last episode, this entire season. Okay, that's the reality of it. It's that it's not. I'm not really sure why you're seeing something different than what I'm seeing.
It's not me. I'm just telling you what I've seen. I'm not saying I
That's
agree.
what he said. You said. You just said what he said. You said.
Right, George. I mean, I'm look. You have seen, but we can verifiably. I can go right into our group and show.
All right, I agree with you.
Show a cross section.
Hold on, before you finish, let me just say this. If I took 10 reaction videos, I'm giving you a consensus of what I saw. That doesn't. Hold on. That doesn't.
Relevant.
That doesn't mean that everybody. I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Only 10. You can't generalize.
That's what I'm about to say.
Sense to generalize it.
Say that. I'm saying that I agree with you that I probably shouldn't have said that. That's what I'm trying to say. I said I took the observation based on observing. I'm just saying probably about 10 reactions, and the majority of them were. I agree with you. I shouldn't have.
This is why Twitter is trash.
This is why Twitter is trash because
10 people becomes a majority.
Right, I agree. I'm actually agreeing with both of them, Carlos and Sean, because I took the consensus of like 10 people I watch and saying that's the moral majority that whether it's this person or this person, and I agree with you guys.
This is what
talking. I agree.
Well, this is why we should really hold off on doing live streams. Number one, but number two. I have noticed that
I can apologize in the middle.
I have noticed that the most complaints I've seen about how the season went, especially the finale, the biggest subgenre of individuals has been dragons. They're the ones that hate this the most.
Well, damn.
Dragons are very, very disappointed. The entire subculture of dragons.
Well, no, you make
they are not happy.
I mean,
and everyone that's name is Sansa that I've seen review the episode. They're cool. They think it's great. It all worked out. So
no. See, here's the thing. He's trying to be funny, but considering I'm in furry circles, he's not wrong about the dragons thing. He's not wrong about the dragons thing.
Because you know why, son? It's because I am part prophet. That is, I am part geek culture prophet. I
kind of came to that conclusion when you talked about the Disney Hulu renewal of Orville thing.
Well, and not for nothing. Here's the thing. You saw my meme about when I took the cap of Picard and with the VA thing, the
cap of Picard. That was funny.
Well, the look on Jean-Luc Picard's face when he's applying for benefits at Starfleet VA, and
the kid asked who's his name,
right? And it's literally what happened. That's literally what happens in the teaser. A couple of days later, that was released. So there you go. Don't
say I can't go on live stream when your kid might jump in and say, "Don't smoke, Daddy." I'm just joking.
Your God. Well, no, but
that's funny though. I'm just joking.
That's funny as shit.
I'm joking.
What my kid did not say though is that women don't want you smoking because women are jerks. So there you go.
Yeah, you're totally like.
I know I'm messing with you, George.
I know.
No, okay, so I have two. Okay, so all I've seen are the reviews because I Lord knows I ain't watched a single episode of Game of Thrones ever.
You're objective. There you go.
All I've done is seen other people review the last episode of Game of Thrones and give their own opinions. Why is the dude who's not all there the king now?
Bran?
Yeah.
Because
the guy who's literally not all there.
No, he smokes some good shit, but
that's ableist.
Yeah, he's like the most.
What does that mean?
Smoking the best shit.
But he can literally just space out and be crows, and then comes back and say.
The reason why he's the best king, son, is because he's able to see everything that ever has been, will be, and if somebody says, "This is a decision I'm going to make,"
a straight answer when anybody asks him a question.
No, he doesn't. But if somebody says we should do this, he already knows that's a good idea. And he already kind of did that. And they had an example in the last episode. When they had a small council meeting. He already knew. He said, "This will improve," Tyrion said. And he said, "I'm sure it will," because he smiled, because he knows. He already knows.
Well,
look,
here's the thing. Why he's the best choice, basically, is what it comes down to Tyrion's speech, which you didn't see, son. And that is that he's the most prudent, and he is the most wise, and he has no agenda, period. He has no agenda.
See the future and the past,
and he didn't want the seat. He didn't want to be the king, but it was just destiny that he would be. But he did not seek it out. He had no agenda. He did not want it for anyone's family. He's just the best choice. Period.
All right, let's move on a little bit. Anyone have?
Well, you're missing the whole point of why we brought this up, George, which was
why did we bring
was
this up?
The number of people who actually enjoyed the episode, the finale.
That was the point of the article you posted. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, the point of our segment was fan reaction. So, so what it turns out, of course, is, as Sun very wisely pointed out, the loudest get the most attention. But if you really look at the numbers, you see something quite different. A different picture emerges. In this case, what we found was that 63% of the people in this scientific poll, 63% liked the finale, some or a lot. 26% said a lot, 37% said some. And when the same number of people were asked to rate it from 1 to 10, the average quality rating was 6.43. So we're seeing actually and that's actually right in line with what our own reactions were. Remember, we all came down at around a 7 on our reactions to the show, and that's what we're seeing.
I think I said 7, and then the overall.
Whatever. The point is, we're in the same neighborhood, and so what we're seeing is not only are we much more down with the people than some pundits, it's also showing that that where it counts, ultimately it's going to count in how many people stick with HBO, how many people see HBO as because for them it's all about subscribers. Now they know they're going to lose some subscribers. Because Game of Thrones is over. That was inevitable. Even if this finale had been fantastic, they were going because some people literally only signed up to watch Game of Thrones. And those people are going to stop until there is another Game of Thrones. So anyone who says, well, they're losing subscribers doesn't understand that that's exactly what they expect. That would have happened anyway. That's a short-term churn. And the bigger question, the bigger challenge is, what do you have to replace it that will continue to attract
content
new and keep existing subscribers? And so, and they're working hard to do that. We'll see how successful they are, and whether it's Game of Thrones successful. But they understand that Game of Thrones is an exception, not a rule. But the rule that we do know from HBO is that they do produce high quality content, and that over time they're able to attract and retain subscribers. We don't see anything in the shows that we know are coming up from HBO that indicates that they're losing their edge. I don't think.
I agree.
And they'd gain an edge if they brought back Carnival.
Oh, I so agree with you. But they are at least doing that Deadwood finale, which, God, I love Deadwood.
By the way, that comes out next Friday. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
What?
As a movie.
31st. The movie comes out next Friday.
The Deadwood movie comes out?
Yep.
I never watched it. So here's the thing.
I'm so excited.
I gave Carlos a lady boner.
So listen,
I'm not going to get into. It gave me a Deadwood.
Yeah. So, there. So I never watched Deadwood, but I will. I'm not going to get into this. I was going to, but I'm not going to. I recently appreciated Rome, and so I know what HBO is capable of. So when you guys
will love Deadwood. You will love.
Okay, so I understand that, and I want to now go back and watch it. But you guys are all excited because you hear Deadwood, and it doesn't just mean you need Viagra.
Okay.
But
I like it. That's good, George.
However, I if somebody said there's a Rome movie, I would appreciate it. But the thing is, I'm trying to say is that I understand that anything HBO makes, it may be worth a second look.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, I don't think anyone that really looks at Rome and other series like that on HBO from a purely critical standpoint would say it's a bad show. It was not a bad show. Its problem was that it was a great but expensive show.
Yep.
And that even though it was successful in many ways, Game of Thrones brought in people. Rome didn't.
And Rome has, by the way, many of the actors translated into.
Oh, sure, but it went off the air 10 years before Game.
Yeah, I know. By the way, guys who don't know, the guy that played Brutus was the guy who was in the Red Wedding, who was supposed to marry. He was the brother of Catelyn Stark, who was in the council that voted in.
Admir
Tully.
Admir. He was Brutus.
Yeah. No, I mean you're going to see a lot of those. There's only so many British actors,
right.
And you're going to see them recycled through a lot of these shows. You will. Yeah. That's just the way.
They're associated with the Game of Thrones.
It's more than that though. Too is that HBO has they have an ethos of hiring the best actors.
Well, the guy that played Braun.
So you're gonna see the best British actors on these shows, and it's a limited pool, is what it comes out to.
The guy who played Braun,
Helen Patrick.
Well, the guy who played Braun I've already seen him in a trailer for one of their upcoming shows. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, you're going to see these people over and over again.
They're going to recycle.
Because they've proven themselves.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm curious. Speaking of HBO shows, did anybody watch The Leftovers?
Yes. Oh yes.
I was told, because I saw the first episode and I never watched it again, but I've been told by a friend of the show, Michael Lacey, that it is one of the best shows on television, and I'm kind of really looking to jump back into it.
You should watch it. You should watch it. It's by the time it had a weak second season, but its third season, and by weak, I don't mean terrible. I just mean the first season was jaw-droppingly amazing, and the second season was, okay, decent. It was good.
Right.
Decent. Yeah, that's a good word. And then the third season, they realized, we made some mistakes. Let's retool this. They gave them a smaller episode order, but at least they were able to bring the show to a conclusion, and it was a largely satisfying one.
Let's jump over to because we're time-wise. Let's jump into a topic that I know some want to talk about, and I want to talk about this too. Sonic the Hedgehog. So Sonic the Hedgehog has been pushed back just to fix his fucking face so the fans will shut the fuck up.
It's not his face. It's not.
It wasn't just that, son. Why don't you take the lead on this one?
So we got a leak of the poster for the Sonic trailer a couple of months ago, and people were cautiously horrified because all we saw was Sonic's legs, and they looked ultra human. And Sonic as a character, as we've seen over the years, has been this kind of thin, spindly legged character. And suddenly we have
face.
Wait. This was the poster. This was the poster.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Golden Gate Bridge with this Sonic blue line all around it in the rings, and then Sonic is sitting like we're viewing through his eyes, and all we see are his legs and the shoes. And people were a little bit freaked out of what was coming because of his legs being so human shaped.
Really?
Then a couple of weeks ago, we got the trailer, the first trailer of the whole thing.
Right.
And the only saving grace of that entire trailer was Jim Carrey at the end in whatever mushroom forest he was in when he finally had the Dr. Robotnik whiskers all frayed out and crazy. Because the Sonic that they have in this movie looks like they took a little person and CGI'd them into the movie to make them look like Sonic, and then CGI'd another face onto this person, and it was terrifying.
He was no Batman.
Well, the backlash to it was a lot like the backlash that we saw from the first look for Discovery. And so...
And I get what you're saying there, son, but I don't think it's a strict parallel because...
right. No, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand.
All right.
That there was a lot less backlash with the Discovery than there was with the Sonic one.
Well, because Sonic, people already have a vision in their mind of what Sonic is.
Right.
Whereas Discovery, people didn't.
Right.
And, so what they reacted to was something that, frankly, was easy to fix. Whereas with Sonic, you're talking about retooling an entire look and feel.
Right.
So that's a bit more of a...
So what we had was the director, James Fowler, a couple of days after the backlash began, because he had to get in contact with Paramount and get in contact with Sega, and they had to discuss all this stuff back and forth of whether or not they were going to visual effects the entire movie around changing Sonic. And both companies agreed to it. And when Fowler originally posted that update, I kind of want to say that he lied to cover the ass of two companies, but I have no proof of that. Because what he said in that statement was that both the studio itself and Sega as a company wanted the best portrayal of Sonic on screen as possible. And if that were truly the case, they would have done the character version of Sonic that we've had for forever from the get-go. Especially considering Sonic is a completely CGI character that they've had to rig and model for the entire movie.
Well, that seems a little... Yeah. So it wasn't just that they want to fix his face. There was more to it.
Oh yeah, the face is nightmare fuel. By itself, just by itself. The face
You
is
gotta re-render all that shit. It takes a lot of money. And
I don't know. I'm just. What are we really expecting from a Sonic movie? That's really where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit about Sonic, but
either.
I understand people do.
I looked at a little bit playing Sega, like I'm doing this shit, but
I mean, I'm fascinated by the story just from how it plays into the larger picture of toxic fandom.
Hold on, Carlos, did you ever play the game?
No, I was too old.
What are you
I'm
talking
an old
about?
guy.
You
I never
never
played
picked up
Sonic.
a Sega and went Sonic.
I played the game,
No.
and when the trailer came out, I still don't understand who the target audience was.
Honestly,
That's a good point.
I'm feeling. That's my opinion of it. You know what it reminds me of? Another wonderful film from Paramount, Pixels. That's what it reminds me of. I'm like, who is this movie for?
But here's a counterpoint to that, though, because I think you're right, Sean and Joe. But look at Detective Pikachu, another game I've never played, don't give a shit about, but I'm going to see that movie.
Yep.
Because it stands on its own. It doesn't need to appeal to me on a nostalgic basis. It just needs to appeal to me on an entertainment basis. And by their casting, especially Ryan Reynolds. They did that successfully. So it's a great example if you want to contrast what Detective Pikachu did right and what Sonic is doing wrong.
You also have the fact that Nintendo's gone this route before and failed horribly. So they were going to make damn sure that they got another Nintendo movie right.
Well, but the question though then is how do you define right if you don't know who your audience is?
Well, I mean, this is something we've said before with movies. you have to appeal to the largest audience possible. I mean, you would talk about this with TV shows.
Yeah, right.
If you're only trying to reach a niche audience, you're not going to pull off the numbers that a studio wants with a movie. And again, this is where you're talking about who's the target audience for Detective Pikachu. Well, everyone is.
Yeah.
Who's the target audience for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is? Well, everyone is supposed to be, but literally everyone online, those who know Sonic, those who've seen pictures of Sonic through the years and never even played the game, everyone has gone, that's not Sonic, that's actually rather creepy.
Pikachu is actually
does Satan have that? that seems like something that would haunt me in my nightmares. I don't want to go see that movie.
Look, here's the thing. I think when you go into a Sonic film, you're going to it with your concept of Sonic being strictly from the video games, despite the wonderful animated series that Sonic has had, and I will attest to this. But you go into that from that approach. Whereas the Detective Pikachu movie, it took the character and created a wisecracking Ryan Reynolds voiced Pokemon that's also a detective, which is a complete subversion of what you would expect from a film about a video game character. I mean, I do understand that there is a Detective Pikachu in as far as the games are concerned,
right?
Yeah.
But this is a completely original take on it, and look, like everyone else, I saw when I first saw the first teaser for this, I'm like, holy fucking shit, Deadpool is going to be Pikachu.
A lot of people were like that. In fact, before we even saw that.
I got the same excitement when Patrick Stewart was going to play the poop emoji. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that movie's horrible too. God. But I saw Detective Pikachu, and it delivered. Ryan Reynolds made that movie. It delivered everything that you expected.
That's right. You saw that. By the way, what's your brief review? What's your rating?
It's a great movie. I give it an 8 out of 10.
We discussed this last week. There's a lot of side eye.
We didn't.
Yeah,
he was going to, but we didn't.
It was a great film for the whole family. It's Ryan Reynolds, his humor, it comes through. It's like, he's got a particular style that works, and even when he's not being a foul-mouthed Deadpool, that particular style, that kind of quick snarky reactions and cleverness to him, it works very well.
I had forgotten I talked about this last week. We never got around to it.
Here's the thing you guys might not understand though. As much as you guys are talking about Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu and being a take on Detective Pikachu, Ryan Reynolds' character portrayal of Pikachu, because I've not seen the movie, I've just seen little snippets here or there. Ryan Reynolds' take on being Pikachu is almost scene for scene the sassiness of Ash Ketchum's Pikachu in the entire series. The Pikachu that we have seen time and time again.
Can I ask you a question, son, about that?
Okay.
Because again, I don't know much about Pokemon. I mean, I hang out with a 10-year-old who plays Pokemon on my iPhone, so I'm familiar with the look and feel.
Right.
But I've never played it and don't really care much about it, and think that
Carlos and I have the same type of friends. So yeah.
So anyway, one of the things that irritated me the most about Pikachu when he first came out was that he was just this yellow ball that kept saying Pika Pika. And I thought, ugh. And the thing that attracted me, the number one thing that made me want to see this movie was that they completely subverted that by, he still says Pika Pika, but that's only what other people hear. He actually does talk, and that he talks just like Ryan Reynolds was
he's like Groot.
And by the way,
so my question for Sun though is, do we see that same dynamic in the original series? Does Pikachu really talk?
There are several instances. In fact, I believe so in the movies, there's been several Pokemon movies. They have little shorts, and some of them are completely devoid of human characters. Now, they still say Pikachu or whatever the character's name is, but you can see that they are interacting in a way that they have a communication going on. That they're speaking to each other, and they each have their own personality.
Yeah, there's actually a scene in Detective Pikachu where they cover this, that it's not about understanding the language, it's about being able to understand each other's emotions. That's how they communicate, how everyone communicates with the Pokemon characters. That's how the pairings work, based on your ability, the human's ability to communicate with Pokemon. However, I will say this about our talking Pikachu in this movie: there's a major twist at the end of the film that changes everything about it. But it's as to why this one talks like Ryan Reynolds. So, well, you'll when you see it, you'll know. You will.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I just was curious.
Right.
You know, what kind of a history there was behind that.
Well,
from my perspective, it just looked subversive, which of course was a plus.
And it was, and it's completely separated, divorced from the normal lore of
right. It's subversive, but in the way in a way, like I was talking about, it does hold true to the original Ash Ketchum character of Pikachu, because from the very beginning of Pokemon, Pikachu is this character who doesn't want to follow the norms of other Pokemon.
All right,
the Pikachu character hates being in its Pokeball. It can't stand it, and it's sassy about having to go into it.
Very interesting stuff. Let's wrap it up, though, because the show's been going on for a while now. But, son, your Pokemon Detective Pikachu lore is appreciated, and we will. I'm sure everybody else does.
Thank you.
So let's start off with you, son, since we're talking to you. Where can people find you on social media?
Hey George, can we squeeze just a few more minutes? I'm just on one quick topic to go around the table.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just curious what people, because we're coming into big movie season.
Okay.
And it's starting now, because it's Memorial Day weekend coming up.
Yeah.
And plus we've seen a lot of new stuff dropping on Amazon, on Netflix. I'm just curious, what are the one or two things you guys are looking forward to the most going into this new season, or that you've just seen that you really would recommend?
So for upcoming movies, shows, or just movies? Like
either.
There's a lot coming up, isn't there? We're saturated with amazing shit.
Yeah. I'm happy to start off. I'll start off with one, which is Brightburn, which just opened this weekend.
I hear great things.
Which is basically the horror version of Superman, which I hate horror, but I love Superman. So I'm hoping that intersection actually turns out to be something amazing. So that's something I find pretty intriguing, and I'm looking forward to.
I've had many friends that keep PMing me, and they say, you got to see Brightburn. You'll love it. And I said, I'm not a big horror fan, but am interested, because they're taking that expectation of what would happen if you take Man of Steel up until a certain point and you twist it. And it's not a spoiler, but what they told me was, what makes things change if you were looking at an alternate universe is, what if Superman, before his powers came into play, was bullied, and then suddenly his powers kicked in? That's where you go from there. And I thought to myself,
so I think that's an intriguing notion. So what about the rest of you?
Yeah. Anybody else?
Swamp Thing.
Yes. UGCU. Whatever.
Yeah, a character I'd never been interested in, but I saw the trailer.
Good
and
call.
I'm interested. So I'm going to watch
Patrol, by the way, Sean, I don't know if you've still been watching it. I just saw the last couple episodes. Oh my effing God. Are you still watching that?
I'm on the final episode. I got cut short about 20 minutes into it.
Oh my God. Yeah. So they just ended their season finale, and I was like, holy shit. It was Doom Patrol. I gotta highly recommend that. So what Joe just said when he said Swamp Thing. So if you want to watch some good shit, DC Universe, that the streaming service, Titans is gonna come back very soon, like this fall. We already know they got the new Batman, which is the guy who played Jorah on Game of Thrones. And Titans is coming back, and we already know Superboy is going to be in it with Crypto. If you saw the final, did I just spoil it? I'm sorry.
Is it a spoiler?
Oh, never mind.
Why is that? Why would that be a spoiler?
Did you see the final episode?
Of what? Of Doom? Yeah. What's it got to do with Crypto?
Did you see the final scene?
Yeah.
The dog in the Kryptonian cage.
I guess I didn't catch it.
Okay. All right. So all you gotta do is go back. So there's guys. It's been out for so long now. There's a teaser for next season in the final after the credits in Titans season 1.
That's why I didn't see it.
Okay.
I
went to the lab. Superboy breaks out of his cloning cage. He's naked except the shadows cover up his junk. And he basically frees Crypto. Yeah.
So it's like Raiden. Okay.
Yeah. And so he frees Crypto. His eyes start glowing. You see a white dog in the cage. And as soon as he kills everybody and does his shit, the Kryptonian, the green energy turns normal, and the dog's eyes start to glow red, and they both walk out of there. It's going to be awesome next season.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward the most this summer into fall is the fact that accordingly, Alec Peters will begin shooting X-Men in October.
Well,
and I am looking forward to that not happening. So.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a different way in a different show. But yes, I hear what you're saying.
It won't happen.
But so Titans is going to bring in Superboy, Crypto. Okay, they've already said that they're bringing in the guy who plays Jorah as Batman. So it's just gonna, guys. DC Universe is actually, Joe brought it up. Swamp Thing. It's all the same shit. It's Doom Patrol. They're building up quickly, very quickly. A universe that is going to rival.
I didn't expect them to, honestly. This is something I'm happy to be wrong about.
Me too.
I just didn't think they were going to have the content to
they're
store up, a whole streaming service of their own, but they're proving to be quite capable of that.
This is how you launch a movie universe.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with our two primary flagship shows so far on DC Universe. They're very impressive.
Yeah, and they're already overtaking the lore as far as everything the CW has done. No offense to anybody in the CW, because Batwoman, by the way, we never talked about that.
It's a completely different.
But it feels like the CW is kind of fading out.
They have different target audiences.
Yeah, exactly.
CW's audience is basically teenagers.
That is true.
And DC Universe is not.
DC Universe is
it's adults.
I don't want to be like
it's adults.
You're a true fan of the DC lore.
Well, you have to understand that the fans of comic books are not the fans of television series.
Right.
They're
just not. Comic books are written and produced for adults now. That wasn't the case when I was growing up, but it is the truth now.
But how weird is it that they're going to have a Batwoman show that has their version of the Batman lore, and then at the same time, the DC show is going to bring in their Batman. They're not even worried about the computer.
Of course not. Different audiences.
Well, yeah,
George, that's why.
They never would have done this.
But they've done it in the comics.
I like it. I'm just asking.
But George, they've done it in the comics themselves. They've had completely different universes for all these characters.
Yeah.
So
they've rebooted DC's universe how many times in the last
right?
No, you're right, because they have. Go ahead.
I mean, well, look at our it's the Dark Knight from Frank Miller's Dark Knight, right? For example, I mean,
for the Batman v Superman, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to discuss that, but the point being is that you have seen so many different versions of Batman just over the last 30 years. Okay, not even, of course, how the entire existence of a character, but just over the last 30 years. I mean, and they can keep doing this repeatedly, provided they have one. They pick an audience that they target a specific audience for each version. Gotham is a completely different take than all of it, and it works for what it was. Yeah. And you've got your CW shows that address these characters in one way. You've got your DC Universe shows. You got your DCEU movie franchise that address it in different ways. So that's the beauty of the diverse nature of these characters and this genre is that there are many different approaches. By the way, I know what series I'm the most interested in. What is that series we've been talking about that's going on Amazon? It's a superhero series.
The Boys.
Oh, the Boys. Yeah.
Yes. When is that coming out?
Oh, that's coming soon. I know they premiered it. They've done sneak premieres.
I've already seen enough teasers to know that they're going there with some of the most controversial parts of that comic.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about Umbrella Academy season 2. I'm excited about Umbrella Academy season 2 as well. I'm looking forward to that as well. Another
Anybody that's read the
fun
Boys,
take on the genre.
Carlos, I don't know if you've read the graphic novel, but I'm just telling you guys, the Boys is not for the squeamish.
Yeah, we know.
Sexual harassment, gross things. You're gonna.
Yeah, we've talked about this already.
Yeah.
Right. It's a big
I know we
show.
have, but you gotta remember, every time we might have new people that never saw
Sure.
the.
But we are adults, so there's nothing new for
So
us.
be prepared, people. It's gonna make you go, what the actual.
It premieres July 26th.
Oh,
Very good.
that's not
So that I would say that is what I'm looking forward the most.
Yeah, I like
this
that.
summer is that show. So.
All right.
By the way, Tick has anybody watched it? Tick on Amazon?
Nothing
by
new
the way?
Tick, but I got it.
The new Tick. The new Tick's amazing. It took a few episodes in the first season to grow on me, but
I get it. I get it. That Tick had to grow on you.
Yes.
One got a tick on his.
Boy, I worked.
It's engorged now.
Yeah. Yes, and it's not letting go. So, yeah.
John, where can people find you on your new Twitter if you're going to rename it, and what are you going to do with that?
It's going to be fun. It's fucked up geek shit right now. I'm going to rename it to fucked up geek shit that this dad says, but it's going to be at fu geek shit. So regardless, that's not going to change.
All right.
You can find me there. You can find me there. You can find me at the of course the X Monitor group on Facebook and the Real Super Geeks group on Facebook.
And I think I asked you, Carlos, but in case I didn't, you can be found where? At Axe Monitor?
I'm at Axe Monitor on Twitter, at C. Pedraza on Twitter, on the Axe Monitor Facebook page and the Axe Monitor Facebook group, and of course on the web at axemonitor.com.
I'm kind of scared.
We are entirely insured over at the Axe
We are. We have $2,500 for podcasting insurance.
Yep.
By the way, it just so certain people stay in their lane. Joe.
That was excellent.
Boom!
Okay, I'll be honest. I don't know what all that means, but okay.
I do.
I don't have insurance.
I'll take it that it's funny.
Joe,
we'll tell you after.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll call you after. Joe, where can people?
With Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles at the Sunnyvale Trailer Park in Nova Scotia. Thanks for listening, guys. Love you.
All right. Sam, where can people find me?
Where can people find you? Well, the same place where they can find me. Hey, guys, you guys interested in chatting with us on Facebook? Well, we have our own group. Just search for The Real Super Geeks on Facebook. You'll find us.
All right. You can also find us on Subspace Radio on the occasional Monday when we actually get remembered because I throw in the episodes in their Dropbox, which I did last week, which went over pretty well. So anyways, we're almost done here on the show. But, you can find us.
Before you go any further, I'm actually interested in Carmen Sandiego Season 2.
Oh, me too. No, not. But it sounds good.
I got to watch the first season yet, and I really look forward to it.
Really good.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I
got about 10 minutes into it. I did enjoy what I saw. So
you don't see the chief character until several episodes in, but they did a really good job of portraying a character that is true to Lynn Thigpen's character.
I loved Lynn Thigpen. She was awesome.
And
totally believed her.
And I'm gonna post whenever if you guys actually if all you people out there actually watch us, which some of you do, you can find all the links to this. So I'm gonna say anything I might have forgotten, it's gonna be in the links. I hope. So I want to thank you for joining us as usual for our Super Geeks talk. We talked about a lot of weird things. I dressed up in some interesting cosplay, and
And go watch Ultraman on Netflix.
Go watch Ultraman on Netflix. Because Son mentioned it earlier in the chat.
It's really good. If you enjoyed the original kind of TV,
that's the one where the guy can grow
Yes,
and
yes.
fight Godzilla type people, right? You can
Yes,
punch him in the face.
yes, it is.
Yeah, I just haven't gone and seen it.
I'll put it this way. You know how I am with binge watching stuff, right? I sat through.
Is this live action or an animated thing?
It's animated.
Okay, because the original was a live action, and
Right. The original and the movie
would grow
live
up,
action.
and he would actually be able to fight Godzilla type monsters because he grew.
And this is a direct sequel from that.
Oh,
I thought Ultraman was the action figure that Arnold Schwarzenegger was athleting all the way. Isn't that who Ultraman is?
No.
Oh. Okay.
It's a type. It's a character.
It's got like a silver mask, and in the original concept, like whenever you see people like Godzilla, they take an Ant-Man type analog where they take somebody and they like grow him, and he fights them fist to fist.
He's like the Indian guy from the Justice League.
Yeah, except
Apache Chief and Nick Chuck. Yes, okay.
Oh, Apache Chief. Yeah, he was pretty cool.
But yeah,
no, he was Super Friends, not whatever.
Like I said, I sat through 4 episodes back to back like it was a 2-hour movie. That's how good it is.
Here's a little trivia for Sean before we close. Did you know that the character in the Wonder Woman movie, who was the Indian man who was in that group with Chris Pine and her in World War I, was meant to be Apache Chief?
No, I did not know that.
However, he had no superpowers. But according to the backstory, supposedly that was their way of saying, it's Apache Chief, which was stupid, but whatever.
Okay.
Anyways.
That's weird, but okay.
Weird. I know, he didn't even have any powers. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for joining us. No bat nipples. Joe will fill you in. So, same bat time.
Did we establish whether Sean was wearing pants this week?
I am. It's cold outside again. We're getting all that. We're getting all that cold Midwest air from all that nasty weather back east. So,
and we will soon see Sean in his Pike uniform.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Since you guys are talking about Batman, there's on YouTube. There's a channel called Pointer Media that posted on May 15th I don't know if this is that Parkview Elementary School, but a Parkview Elementary School did a fan movie of the Adam West Batman, and they are hilariously true to that portrayal of Batman.
Something that's really interesting about that.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, the Parkview. I've heard about the Park. They've also done a Star Trek fan film, and the guy who did the music for them is a guy named is it Kevin Croxton? He is actually doing the score for Jonathan Lane's Axanar fan film interlude.
Interesting.
You said holy crap, Carlos! You just said interlude.
No, I didn't. I said interlude.
Yes, you did. No, you didn't.
I play it back. Play it back, George.
I heard the
I
B.
can't do it right now, but
I heard the B.
I heard the B.
people can watch it and they can.
You are the bee.
People who are watching this when I upload it, they can judge and they can go, Carlos, you're wrong. All right, you guys. I want to thank everybody who joined us, and we'll talk to you, Joe. In last words, any jokes?
8.9. Thanks for improving my week.
That's all you need to know, folks.
Better than the duck joke.
Peace out, people.